Hey everybody, this is Dave Blair, and I wanted to talk about the Xbox Series X and just get some of my thoughts out there. This is April 26th of 2020, and it's well before any of the announcements for E3 or the games and all that stuff that's coming. So I just wanted to kind of get a few of my thoughts out there and talk about the upcoming console. I don't think I'm going to be talking about Sony too much or Steam, but I'll just be focusing on Microsoft and the Xbox Series X. Um, One of the things that I don't feel like gets a whole lot of attention is basically the UWP, which is the Universal Windows Platform, which allows people or developers to make a game and then scale it all the way up from a high-end PC all the way down to your phone. Um, it's the same reason why you can make a game work for various PC platforms. I think they rolled this UWP out a while ago, but it's all what Phil Spencer's been working on, I believe. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is going to be speculation on my part, but again, the Universal Windows Platform is a big deal, and it's why they can scale games for different hardware. And one of the one of the mistakes that they made early on is when making a console, the focus is to have it be a closed system. It's open for developers, but you don't want people to be able to alter or influence your games from the outside. So there's a certain part of protection that's involved. It's just like I say, there's usually less cheating on Xbox than there is on PC because PC is an open platform and the Xbox and the PlayStation were closed. It's also why Sony's having such a hard time making backwards compatibility. Now, what Microsoft did was they made an Xbox 360 emulator so that they could emulate their games on the Xbox One, and they brought forward all that backwards compatibility at no cost to the developers themselves. So anyway, they scaled everything. It's kind of what you do on the PC when you make a game for an older computer, it still can run. You just turn the certain graphics down, and it still runs on that. So Microsoft, I believe, is on the right track as far as that goes. As far as being able to scale their stuff and build an emulator that works. Now, I believe that's where Sony's running into their problem because they didn't want anybody to be able to build an emulator. That's why I use that cell processing. It's more complicated than I understand, but I think that's why they're having a problem putting the backwards compatibility on Sony. The other thing I'd like to point out here too is like when they start talking about, I can take these computer components and this is what we should be looking at with the Xbox. I hate those videos because they're so wrong. The reason they're wrong, in my opinion, is when you build a PC, you have a motherboard, you have a graphics card that's supposed to work with that motherboard. But, the motherboard can take all different kinds of graphics cards, and, you have to find them compatible. But usually there's a range of graphics cards that you can put on that motherboard. So the motherboard has to be open for a lot of different components. The CPU. Again, you have to have the right socket set, but there are others that could go on the motherboard. The motherboard is like it has to accept a lot of different things, whereas the Xbox Series X has all been designed to work as one. So it's that's why I think they're really off on what the specs of this thing are gonna be. So basically, all these components in here have been designed and built so it all works as one thing. It's different than a PC. But anyway, yeah, the main focus of these next Xbox is not so much. I know they're going to come out with, some great games, but I don't really think that the focus of the next Xbox, in my opinion, is going to be to sell people on the Game Pass. Which, okay, let's take a look at the Game Pass. So here's mine. I'm logged in on the computer. I have Game Pass. And if I just scroll through here, these are the games that I've already loaded. Now, Game Pass costs me $15 a month, I believe. Here's all games. So basically, for $15 a month, I can play any one of these games. I think you guys pretty much understand how Game Pass works. But yeah, I think there's like 100 games. I also have it on my Xbox, and I can just pick a game. Let's say if I want Dirt Rally 2.0, I can just click it, download it, and play it. It doesn't cost me anything. I could play Dishonored 2. It doesn't really matter. I can pick any one of these games, and it wouldn't surprise me if they up this to 200 games, maybe even the whole catalog. Because the reason is the focus is to get people on a subscription service. And to me, it's worth it. For $15 a month, I can pick any one of these games and play it on the PC. I can play it on my Xbox. My son, he also is on my account with me. He can play any of these games for free. Again, just click on it and download it. When I hurt my shoulder, this was the game that I played through this game, and I had a great time, but played it for free. It cost me $15 a month, but still. I played a little Mud Runner 2. That was fun. But yeah, all these games. And this is what the next consoles are going to be about, is getting people into this type of streaming service. My son and his friends have been playing the Sea of Thieves, and he's 19 years old. He's got a birthday coming up soon. But yeah, him and his friends have been playing the Sea of Thieves like crazy. They've just had a bunch of new content. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's tons of games. There's too many games. I have so many games that I want to play, and I just don't have time. Matter of fact, Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of my games that I haven't finished. And, it's a great game. But it's also coming to Game Pass, I believe, in May. Yeah, so speaking of Red Dead Redemption, this was actually a horse race that I took part in. So we'll play that in the background here. So, again, the focus is going to be on the Game Pass, and they're rolling out a really good Xbox Series X, in my opinion. I think it's going to be, from everything that I've seen so far, seems like it's going to be great. But yeah, the Game Pass is where the focus is. Make no mistake, that's what it's all about. And to give you a little history, and I'm sorry if this is going to bore some people, but if you go back when I was a kid, you used to have to buy an album or a CD. And, sometimes it'd have maybe one or two songs on it that you wanted, and the other, songs were not that good, And then, so what happened was pretty soon when computers became available, people found out you could put your music CDs in there and rip them to your computer. And then things like Napster came along where, people were, borrowing other people's music, if you will. iTunes came out. I think they were one of the first where you could pay a monthly fee to have access to all this music. But yeah, Napster, I remember, was a big deal because it was like stealing music. And I still think that, I remember Metallica was really upset because their music was getting stolen basically through Napster or something like that. And I have a theory that's why they came out with that Saint Anger album. Because that was an awful album, but, they knew people would buy it. I think they were just trying to recoup some money because they felt like they had been stolen from. But anyway, I'm a little off track. So after the music industry got sorted out and they went to a pay per month. Matter of fact, I have Amazon Prime, so I have access to a ton of that music. Let me turn this down because I don't know if this is too loud. There we go. Yeah, so I have Amazon Prime, so I have access to all that music. And then I also have, and then after the music thing, what happened was the movies. Okay, so you had Netflix. They pretty much took care of Blockbuster, and you could pay a monthly. I don't know why this thing isn't going away. Yeah, you could pay a monthly fee, and you could download movies or have movies streamed to you. That was a whole big deal. I don't need to really give everyone the history of what happened to movies, but basically for $10 a month or $8 a month, you could get Netflix and you could stream movies. You could even rent movies and things like that, and they were streamed to you. And now there's they're making so many movies you can't even keep up with movies. Same thing with the music. Going back to the music, I have access to so much music I can't even listen to all of it, and I kind of just pick the stuff that I like anyway. Same thing with Netflix. It's like you pick the stuff that you want to watch. You can watch as much of it as you want. But basically now, Netflix is making their own movies, and they're really, in my opinion, not that good. And you're just flooded with content. And again, so the whole thing though was they were making a ton of money off people that were streaming the Netflix service so they could watch their stuff. Anyway, I think you guys get what I'm saying. But this is where games are headed now. So pretty soon, Microsoft wants to be the one that you're going to pay a monthly fee to. And again, they may open it up to. Right now, I think it's 100. It's 100 games, and they're different on the PC and the Xbox. There's some similar, but they can be different. And they want you on that streaming service, and they may even open it up to their full library. I don't know what their plan is, but they want everybody to be on this service. And my fear is what's going to happen is they're just going to flood it with games. And I already have too many games. I have too many games. I haven't even finished Red Dead Redemption 2 yet. And that's been out since fall of 2017, I think. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But, yeah. Anyway, my fear is that they're going to just give us so many games. And you're crazy not to get it at $15 a month. Even that... Oh, yeah, the... Kingdom Come Deliverance. That was a great game. I probably wouldn't have bought that one, but I'm glad I got the opportunity to play it. And there's other games that I play too. A lot of them are just like that Mud Runner. I picked it. I downloaded it. I played it for a little bit, and then I stopped. Got tired of it and was moving on. But I still enjoyed the opportunity to play it. So for me, it just makes sense, and I think it will for a lot of people. And whether you get the Xbox Series X or not, you can still get the Game Pass on the PC. Okay, so here's Forza Horizon. I haven't played this in a really long time, so even though I have it on the Xbox One X, I downloaded it to the PC real quick, and I did the Forza. It transferred over too. So again, whether you're on just PC or you have the Xbox too, it's just, it makes sense to get the Game Pass, especially when they're bringing their games day and date to the Game Pass service. That's how I played Gears 5 that just came out last summer, and downloaded that and played through that game too. It was fun. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about was just, I think the main focus is going to be Game Pass. I think the Xbox Series X is going to outperform what people think it's going to do because it's been designed from the ground up. I don't understand all the hate that Microsoft gets. I really don't. I think it's a great American company. The whole console war thing seems a little ridiculous to me. And I don't understand why so many people hate on Microsoft and the Xbox brand. Almost it's almost like it's because it's an American company, and I don't get it. I think America's a great country. Um, yeah, and also if you look at Microsoft, if you've pulled up their financials, Microsoft, um, they are a lot more wealthier than Sony. So, this whole console war thing is ridiculous. Microsoft could buy Sony if they wanted to. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Don't freak out on me, but yeah, Microsoft is a bigger company than Sony. Um, I'm not saying that Sony did a bad job. I had a Sony PlayStation 1 back in the day, and yeah, it was all right. Um, but no, I'm not a big Sony fan. I actually like what Microsoft is doing. Now, I will say that again, they kind of burnt themselves when the Xbox One first was launched, and Don Matrick, came out and he said, "Oh, you have to check in online once a day," and all this other stuff. And again, Microsoft took that one for the developers because they're always trying to stop pirating. The pirating of games and all this other nonsense. That's why one of the reasons why the consoles came about was to stop pirating, in my opinion. But yeah, because the PC games were always there too. But because it's an open platform, it's just easy for people to get in there and steal stuff. So, but anyway, and the whole point, going back to the whole music thing, before they had monthly subscription to music service, people were stealing music. And once they came out with, hey, you can pay $8 a month and have this unlimited supply of music, people stopped stealing music for the most part because it just wasn't worth it. Same thing with movies. People were ripping movies. They would, go to Blockbuster and rent them and come home and rip, they had rip software and stuff. And people were stealing movies. Same thing, if you have a $8 or $10 a month subscription and you can stream the movie and watch the movie as much as you want, and movies weren't that expensive to watch, people stopped stealing them. Instead, they would pay their, $8, $10 a month and watch whatever they wanted to watch. And gaming's going to be the same way. So if you go back to the Xbox One launch, if you go back and watch that, one of the key things in there was to stop people from stealing games. And then Sony had to make their stupid little commercial thing where the one guy handed the game off to the other one. And again, it was the developers that were putting pressure on Microsoft at the time because Microsoft had sold more Xbox 360s than the PlayStation sold PlayStation 3s. So they were the leader coming into the next generation, and that they had pressure put on them to put in some kind of system to stop people from stealing games. And that's why they came out and said some of the things that they said. That's why they made some of the decisions that they made. And, it was the wrong time because now everybody's online, and it wouldn't have been as big a deal today as it was back then. But again, the motivation there was to stop people from stealing games, which is the same motivation behind this whole Game Pass thing. Because if you can spend $10 a month and get just click on a game and download it and start playing it. Why would you buy? I haven't bought a game. Well, that's not true. I bought Automobilista 2 in the early access for $25 because I knew that I would probably be playing that sometime in the future. I probably played that about 20, maybe 30 hours. But other than that game, I haven't bought a game in years, probably 2 years. I don't even remember the last time before Automobilista 2 that I bought a game. Most of my time is spent playing iRacing. I really have no desire to buy any other game. And with Xbox Game Pass, the reason I have it is so my son, has access to the games and other people. And sometimes there's, like when I hurt my shoulder, I was looking for something to play that I didn't have to put the stress of a force feedback wheel on. So that's why I decided to go with the Game Pass anyway, and it just made sense to me. But yeah, I just see, they're going to continue to make a big push. I think that they're going to come out with a game in every genre that's going to have people excited about that game. They went and they bought all those studios. They've really, if you look at the launch of the Xbox One compared to where they are now, it's night and day different. And, most of that is thanks to Phil Spencer. But I really think that Microsoft is positioning itself well to be the Netflix of games. Really excited to see their next flight simulator. I'm not sure that I'm going to buy that and play it. I could probably get it through my Game Pass, but I'm interested to see how it does with the Bing Maps and the AI upscaling of graphics and things like that. And I think that's going to be the future. And I just imagine a day when you can play a Forza Horizon and just click on anywhere in the world and get, the Bing map type of data where all the buildings are, where they're supposed to be, the roads are, where they're supposed to be. I think that'll be a great day when that comes. I talked about that, I think, a year ago when I was talking about being in Japan. And, with real traffic data. I'd also like to see Microsoft, they came out with the mixed reality headsets. And I talked about, Lenovo and Samsung and all these people, all these companies that got on board and built these these Windows mixed reality headsets, and they really haven't gone anywhere. Now you have, the Samsung Odyssey Plus came out, so they're continuing to make VR headsets, and I just would assume that this has got to go somewhere, some point. And I know that Microsoft really isn't talking about VR, but I just don't see how Microsoft has companies making VR headsets if they're not intending to put them in their game at some point. I know Sony has their VR headset for their console, and I'm sure that the Xbox Series X would be more than capable to run VR. So it's just a matter of are they going to implement it? Again, I think I've said it'd be fantastic to see if Forza Motorsport 8 had VR included. Now, if that one doesn't, then I would say possibly the next Forza Horizon. I hope anyway. I'm a big VR fan, in case you hadn't noticed. But I think VR is best as a seated experience. Again, force feedback steering wheel, load cell pedals, and a VR headset, and happy times. So, yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Just, again, I wish they would do the VR right and show everyone how to do VR in a seated experience. I've talked about that before. And it doesn't have to be a racing game. It doesn't even have to be a simulation game. I talked about that taxi simulator that's coming out. I noticed it was on Steam. I put it on as a game I was interested in to keep track of. But, as a taxi simulator or something like that would be a great VR title. Again, if you can make the story compelling and you put somebody in a driver's seat with a VR headset, it doesn't have to be a racing game. It could just be a compelling story. I think would be a great way to sell VR. Okay, I think I've rambled on long enough. I think you guys know where I stand on VR. And also the Game Pass. I think it's going to be a fantastic service. So if you don't have it, I don't understand why. And you can only buy so many games on Steam. It's like I have a ton of Steam games I haven't even gotten around to play yet. And it's like, why buy them when, they keep coming out with updated games, which I don't think is going to happen in the future, by the way. I think that the games will automatically scale. Again, I've talked about the Universal Windows platform. It's a scalable platform. It's future-proof, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover, and, thanks for watching.